everyone lived the way Indians are living, we wouldn't even need all the resources on earth. But if we tried to live the lifestyle that every American is living, we would need 5 bloody planets to survive. Think about it.
Narrative is a thing that happened with Rihanna and Greta Thunberg. Like what this is my personal opinion. So like what Rihanna has to do with the farm protests going on in India.
Recycle polyester, recycle materials like fast fashion. Fast fashion is the most disturbing thing that's happening right now.
So hello guys, welcome to the very new episode of the Mindmix Podcast, and today I have as a guest my lovely friend Sarthak. Sarthak, how are you?
Hello everyone.
Say hi to everyone.
Hi.
Hello. Tino frame 1, 2, 3.
I'm good. Very good. Finally, I'm back in Silvassa.
Yes, great.
Which is interesting because Pune ki weather, it sucks. It really sucks. कभी भी बारिश हो जाती है. It was a long day. इधर से उधर meetings, this and that, but we are finally here recording a fun podcast with you. So
yes, thank you very much for coming. So Sarthak, tell
That's
me
what she
about
said.
yourself. मेरे को तो पता है, I know you, but for the audience, tell them about yourself and what do you do?
All right, it's gonna be a bit tough to cover everything up because
Whatever you can, bro.
I do disturbingly a lot of things. But yeah, so I'm Sarthak. I currently live in Pune doing BSc Economics में पढ़ाई. I have a background in PCMB science. And I think the actual question that you want to ask here is what I do that makes me interesting. Right?
Yes.
Apart from my curls that get me girls. I think it's...
Yes.
I think it's the environmental work that I do.
Yes.
And the designing part. For me, design is my therapy.
Okay.
I love designing a lot. And if I talk about my experience in the corporate world or the entertainment industry, it started by designing graphics when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And right now I'm running a marketing agency, which used to be a design studio, but then we learn how to do marketing, SEO and stuff. And now it's a marketing agency. That's one of the places where I love to work because of the fascinating interest of mine in marketing. And the way I know you, another thing that I do is environmental activism. I have worked with organizations like Fridays for Future, Green Line Mumbai, and multiple more, including Greenpeace. And I even started organizations with Siddharth. It's called Porter's Foundation, based in Silvassa, India. And due to some reasons, हमें वो रोकना पड़ा, but we are looking forward to get it back started.
Yes.
And the thing about me is, it's the work. You know, I am also a poet, and there was this poem that I once wrote.
You have also published a book, right?
Yes, it's called Inside.
उनके बारे में बताइए audience.
It's called Inside a Teenager's Mind, and it came out like earlier this year in February. And there's one of these poems. I think it's poem number 17 called Sculpture. And the poem का जो last line है, it goes something like, the most you'll ever be is a bookshelf. And if you give back to the community, maybe a sculpture. In दो line में, it defines everything I want.
That what you want to do and what you are doing right now.
Yes. Life is a long journey, 60, 80 years. जैसे जैसे आप grow होते हो, you collect information, you collect knowledge, you become better at things. And it's like a bookshelf filled with books. You know how to be a better person, how to do this, how to do that. You gain all that knowledge. It stays with you like a bookshelf with books, right? But you are going to die eventually. It's inevitable. That is inevitable, right? And you are going to die with all these knowledge. But if you give back the knowledge to the society, they will build sculptures of you. And this reference is about the great teachers who have walked the planet before. Some of them being Sai Baba, Muhammad, and Jesus. There are so many examples of this. Great teachers, great philosophers. We now look at their statues in the museums, temples, etc. Right? These are the people who gave back to the community, gave back to this world. So that's why the line goes like, the most you'll ever be is a bookshelf, or you give back to the community, maybe a sculpture.
Got it. Great. So what is Porter's Foundation, and especially what is Amor Porter's?
I'm glad that you mentioned because मैं भूल गया था ये करना. So, as you know, last year I went to Japan for a special.
But first tell me about that your Japan trip. वो what was it related to? क्या चीज तुम क्या करने गए थे जापान?
Right. So this is something जो मेरी family भी बहुत पूछती है because I took a gap year after completing like 12th from PCMB, which is a rare combination, maths and bio both. Like purpose क्या है, right? And I took a gap year after that. And what I did was for a few months I just did some NGO work, did like serve the society and all. And then I enrolled into this specialized course for 5 months ka, which was based in Japan. And it was about sustainability.
Okay.
This was a time where I was very fascinating about how we could make things more sustainable, better. ठीक है? Because I have been a climate activist for 4 years, right? तो अंदर से वो feeling थी, how can we become better? How can we make this world more sustainable? And if we have to define sustainability in the smallest word, like what is sustainability, right? Because बहुत लोगों को नहीं पता होता.
हम लोग ने वो वर्ड सुना रहता है कि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट बट व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज सस्टेनेबल एंड हाउ वी कैन वर्क ऑन दैट. यस,
everyone talks about sustainability, but what's the true meaning of it, right? Something जो उस 4 महीने के कोर्स में I learned is sustainability is basically getting the most results out of the least amount of resources. ठीक है? And this is what the true purpose of sustainability is. Mostly when we talk about sustainability, it's related to the environment thing. You know, कम से कम natural resources use करके ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा productivity, right? In the same way, sometimes we talk about sustainability in lifestyle terms, right? Like how sustainable is your lifestyle? How sustainable is your work life? When we say about work life, it means कि कितने longer time तक आप survive कर पाओगे, right? If you're working 16 hours a day, 3 cups of coffee, it's not sustainable because you can't do that for 2 years, for 3 years. वो
ग्राफ ऐसा जाके then वापस it will crash
exactly
down.
Productivity will go down. It will crash. And this, I think this is a reference जो हमने fossil fuel से ले लिया है. We have been burning emissions at a really alarming rate. It's going up. After some time it will have to come down because there would be no resources left. And now the modern day example of sustainability is it going to last in the longer run, right? It has become, हमारी ह्यूमन कल्चर ने, मैनकाइंड ने उसका मीनिंग इसमें कन्वर्ट कर दिया है. बट द ट्रू मीनिंग इज getting the most results out of the least amount of resources.
Yes. And basically sustainability का concept economics में भी use होता है. Yes. Because it's about managing resources.
True.
With its maximum utility.
Yes. Something जो if we talk about startups and businesses, like including this word has been used so many times after COVID, mainly in the IT industry because everyone is trying to become more sustainable. And when I say this, I just don't mean based on environmental terms. I also mean in terms of financial working capacities. We saw कि 3 महीने के अंदर more than 4 lakh employees in the Silicon Valley were fired. This was done in order to make their companies more sustainable. Right? Even in India. Even like the previous month, more than 800 people in a firm were like fired. The purpose was everyone is trying to become more sustainable. And the fun part about sustainability is you don't need a lot of resources to run things properly. Something that I have learned is you don't need a lot of resources. Like think about, like right now in this studio we have 3 cameras, but you could still make a podcast out of one camera. Or maybe 2 maximum. Even if you don't have a camera, you can make it with your phones, right? Companies are realizing that they don't need the most fanciest camera. They don't need a red helium or Dragon 8K to record a podcast. They are figuring out if you have an iPhone, you can do it on that. And this is how companies are saving money. They are becoming more sustainable.
Also, I have a different take on that layoffs because the kind of information and knowledge that I was gathering, it is more inclined to the geoeconomics, the economics factors in geopolitics. So this is what I believe कि इतने सारे layoffs होने का the angle that you said is also there, but I don't think personally कि वो उतना ज़्यादा major factor था. This is what I believe कि इतने सारे layoffs में there is a huge part of recession going on in the West, the economic aspect mainly. कि the companies were not firing people because they wanted to be more sustainable. In a sense कि they wanted to be, but not in that sense that we are talking about right now. They wanted because अभी there is a recession especially in
the silent recession.
Silent recession in USA and Western world, Europe, जिसकी वजह से that is the major impact.
I mean, if we talk numerically, अगर हम statistics को देखें, the GDP of China is now greater than that of USA. And before
Nominal,
COVID,
real,
nominal.
GDP.
And before COVID, it used to be the other way around.
Okay.
USA की GDP hasn't completely healed after the COVID pandemic.
And also there are different reasons जिसके ऊपर as a observer, I will not say as a observer, but because I used to prepare for UPSC, so I was keeping an eye on that. Ki there's a term called petrodollar.
Yes.
Have you heard about
Yes.
that? So petrodollar is the main reason, and de-dollarization. If you want, our audience can just Google it out. What is de-dollarization? तो वेस्ट में रिसेशन का बहुत बड़ा रीजन है de-dollarization. It's a great concept. Great in the sense you will get to know that how USA after the World War कि उन्होंने कैसे
used
अपने
their influence
to become
manipulate things in the world.
Yes, and have become a major economy.
And this includes a lot of things: the Taiwan War, the Vietnam
everything,
War,
everything.
The thing that led up to the 9/11 attacks, Afghanistan. There's a lot of things that has happened. And this is fun because, as you know, I am a research student for socio-economics, ठीक है, and specifically economics, right? And हमारी जो group है, we are currently working on a research paper that is called the effects of BRICS currency. BRICS. Now this is a
BRICS
topic.
but BRICS is the new thing.
Yeah.
Sarthak will tell you what is BRICS.
So as हमारी group is doing research on this, we have identified that. So what does BRICS stand for? BRICS is a collection of top 5 growing nations. Brazil, Russia, India,
China, and South Africa.
These
BRICS, BRICS.
All these 5 countries are among the top 7, top 8 growing GDPs.
Yes.
Growing economies in the world, and these countries are very powerful. Together, these countries are 40% of the world's population.
Yes. वो बहुत बड़ा statistics है.
5 countries, 40% of the world population, and they are planning to make a currency, something similar to the European Union जो use करता है,
European
right?
Union.
There are 28 countries that are all using the Euro currency.
Same Euro currency.
Same concept has been introduced by the BRICS alliance. They want to use the same currency instead of everyone having to buy
different की जैसे China, Russia using ruble, India using rupees, China using
the yen.
Yen is China का currency क्या है? I forgot. But the audience get it.
Anyways, we'll cut this part.
No, we'll keep it.
Anyways, but yeah, the main part is, क्या होता है? All these countries have their different currencies, and they are all suffering because of it, because they are having to pay enormous amounts of taxes to the other
conversion
countries.
rates में भी बहुत ज़्यादा.
I mean, this is something that the USA and the European states have been very smart about.
There is a word in Hindi called chant. US is chant. Yes,
it always has been. But yeah, Europe knew after World War उसकी power was down. USA had taken over, right? And Russia had taken over. But Russia was very ignorant of these issues. वो बहुत ही silently play out कर रहा था. So what European countries decided? They decided to form the European Union. 28 countries coming together. They are very powerful. Together, they are around 460-70 million population, which is insulting because India के सब 3 state is equivalent to that.
Yes.
But the main thing is they become a stronger currency in the global finance, in the global markets, right? This is the same concept that the BRICS alliance has proposed. The only thing is, because every other currency is separated, वो weak हो जाता है. And they end up dealing or doing their purchases in US dollar.
Yes, and so basically, just to summarize, just to keep it simple, BRICS currency wanted to eliminate the hegemony of the US dollar.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, true. Now, BRICS currency is not just limited to these 5 countries, right? They have proposed an offer for everyone who could come and join their alliance. Not the alliance, but join them and support
their ecosystem.
And support this one currency. They can decide to transact in this currency. And more than 38 countries have decided. The Saudi Arab and a lot of countries from the Middle East, including Qatar, are the last countries to join this, and this list is going to go on. And it's funny because if you see what's happening around the world, people are moving away from the dollar.
Yes.
Including something that happened quite recently in Dubai. the Saudi Arabia has decided to reduce down their oil production by 1.2 million barrels a day.
Bro, I personally think that Saudi Arabia, जिस हिसाब से in geopolitics, in economics, in politics, in business, everywhere, Saudi Arabia is just having a great vision.
They are greatest visionaries, and also they are very manipulative in a way. They know, and they are like, being honest, they are the oil money.
Yes.
They don't have to care about things, honestly. But they have built things for themselves. They were not gifted anything, right? And Saudi Arabia is playing very smartly the way it is presenting itself.
Like the way they have changed their economy.
Yeah.
Like for example, being an oil producing nation to being
tourism
largest
giant.
tourist.
Yes.
Tourism
And
giant.
not just tourism. It's about, it used to be a desert island, desert country ran by a cruel king. Now how do you look at Dubai?
It is a monarchy, but there are plenty of rights that is given in around the world. The world.
But how do you look at Dubai? A fun place, an enjoyable place. Now the royals are all of a sudden very good people. When we think about them, we think of good things, right? It is pretty much true. But there are always the dark sides.
Yes, वो तो रहने वाला है.
How many of you know Vice? It's a very popular news media. They are popular because they report from ground.
हाँ.
ठीक है? They have a very fun and enjoying, like, creative way of making their entertainment videos, news videos. But do you know, it is not even being purchased, but it is being controlled by the Saudis.
What the fuck? Same है. Vice is controlled by Saudis.
Yes. So
VICE Vice.
The VICE, the Vice. So there was
the black logo and white font.
Yes.
वही वाला मैं I will still confirm it.
Yeah.
They are run by Saudis.
They are controlled by Saudis.
Controlled
So Vice is on the verge of bankruptcy.
Okay.
ठीक है? 3 years ago, they were in a debt of $1.5 billion. Billion with a B. ठीक है? And the co-founder of Vice met the prince of Dubai on his private yacht in the Caribbean. ठीक है? Something funny happened. They decided to agree upon a partnership, ठीक है? Where Vice is going to make a documentary and cover a lot of news about the Saudis, about the Dubai and the royal family, right? And they are going to be paid for it. Now the thing is, they covered all bunch of things, and Vice is among the top coverers of news in Saudi. What happens is, the monarchy gets to decide what goes out and what doesn't. And this is where manipulation takes place, because बहुत सारा content that Vice used to be known for, they are compressing those.
Bro, Vice, the way that I know Vice is that they were, as you said, they were mostly famous for their groundbreaking documentaries.
Exactly. You remember what happened in Taliban?
Yes.
There was this thing. Next day, Vice posts a video being on ground, covering everything. That is how I remember them being amazing, being on point, on ground. And now things that are happening in Dubai, they are being suppressed. It's not reaching the world. There were multiple incidents where posts were being deleted.
Post likes,
old
articles of Vice.
Old articles of Vice that exposed or blamed or was in negative critics of Dubai or the monarchy.
Okay.
It's being covered. It's being taken down. And new content is just not being uploaded. But after hearing this, do you think being in this partnership is benefiting Vice? It should. It should.
पैसा आ रहा है तो obviously.
आना चाहिए, right?
Yes.
It's not. Vice is in a debt of $5.6 billion. This is almost 3.4 times what it used to be. And at the same time, now they have no freedom.
Freedom, like I personally believe that this is my observation कि any media house, बराबर media house, देख मैं तुम लोग को बताता how media house, this is what I observe कि media house how they are controlled, okay? So number one, they always there will always be an influence, चाहे वो government का हो या कोई बड़े corporate का हो. Because they either the government control them,
true,
or any big corporate will have a big share in them,
which is in bed with the government.
Yes. Okay. So another is like if not the first two, then the advertisements.
True.
advertisement because they have to make revenue, and advertisement is
it's the core of a business.
Yes.
The goal, the backbone of any business is profits.
is profit.
And
So-
news agencies ki profit is their backbone.
So talking about whys, have you heard of that Al Jazeera one?
Yes.
Controlled by
Yes,
the people who do not know, Al Jazeera is वैसे तो वो लोग अपने आप को लेबल करते हैं काइंड ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट मीडिया हाउस, बट दे आर टोटली कंट्रोल्ड बाय एंड टोटली फंडेड बाय कतार गवर्नमेंट. So
just like many other news publications in
yes,
India.
so that is what I'm saying कि any of the media either मेरे ऑब्जर्वेशन के हिसाब से ये 3 चीज़ों से वो कंट्रोल होते हैं, या तो गवर्नमेंट, या तो कॉर्पोरेट, या तो फिर एडवर्टीजमेंट. So the thing is, have you heard what kind of the thing around Al Jazeera?
I know, but I would prefer you explaining
So
more to
the thing
audience.
is, Al Jazeera, also Nas Daily, do you know?
Yes.
Nas
Of course
Daily
I
has
know
also
Nas.
covered. Nas Daily has also covered on that how Al Jazeera is posting. जैसे मार्केटिंग में होता है ना कि ऑडियंस स्पेसिफिक.
Yes.
they are doing their business audience specific, yeah, country specific,
So
we can say.
if I add something to that, it's like they are posting opinions about the same topic in both the sides.
हाँ कि contrasting opinions. For example, if they say वो लोग वेस्ट में they are supporting LGBT rights, बराबर,
And they are criticizing the same in the Middle East
in
and
the Middle
Asian
East.
countries.
So that level of दोगलापन.
Similar way, it's another thing that I noticed earlier, and Siddharth informed me earlier, was there was this World War II ka celebration. So everyone was celebrating, not celebrating, but like remembering the events of World War II. And what happened was they posted something about, what was it exactly?
वो किसकी बात कर
They were they were like remembering the Jews who died due to Hitler, the Holocaust.
हाँ
Is it different? Am I mixing stuff up?
मतलब हाँ, okay, got it. हाँ मतलब it was like कि in West they posted an article के Holocaust Remembrance Day kind of.
Yes,
and in the Middle East they posted it was Holocaust really happened ऐसा करके.
Now this is
very
the
problematic.
level of, if I say in Ashneer Grover's voice, doglapan.
दोगलापन.
This is the level of doglapan. And why are they doing this? Because as Siddharth mentioned, there are 3 things that controls a media hub. It's either the government, it's either the corporate world,
Corporates.
or the advertising. And
Or fourth one, all of them together.
that now I think you just described the Indian media. I'll share the story about NDTVs. NDTV used to be one of my favorite news channels because of their transparency. Not just transparency, because of their neutralness. Okay? Them just stating facts and allowing people to form their own opinions instead of forcing it down. And I used to be in touch with Ravish Kumar.
Really?
Yeah, there was this one incident where a friend of mine was arrested on 14th Feb 2021.
For what?
Her name was Disha Di, and it was something related to climate, obviously. And so there were fake allegations made against her that she was promoting or like she basically shared a toolkit to Greta Thunberg, and then Greta reposted it on her Twitter, which was later reposted by Rihanna, and this became a major issue for...
Okay, you're talking about the farm protest.
Yeah, the farmers' protest. And she was alleged that she is trying to, harm the reputation of India by sharing
Do you
this
believe,
toolkit.
just to cut you out, sorry, but do you believe there is a concept of toolkit going on?
I mean, what is a toolkit? Like, what is the basic definition of a toolkit?
Toolkit in the sense that I'll explain you कि बहुत ही basic terms में आके मैं explain करता हूँ. Toolkit is basically there is a great influence above. ठीक है, बहुत बड़ा influence है of power and money जो एक particular narrative run करना चाहता है.
True.
By different means, by medias, by activists, by XYZ. And toolkit is like they, for example, toolkit in a sense use होता है कि एक मेल आता है. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू डू अ ब्रांड कोलैबोरेशन तो ब्रांड का एक मेल आता है कि यू हैव टू यूज दिस लाइन्स, तो दे गिव यू अ टूल किट.
I have made over hundreds of toolkits in the last 3 years. And I'll just say this out to the
On this podcast, Sarthak is the part of toolkit.
And I just don't mean like toolkit is such a common term in the marketing industry when we work with brands. ठीक है, We worked with Puma quite recently for a collaboration project. We did influence marketing for them, and we made toolkits and supplied it to the influencers. It's a very common thing.
But so what I was explaining is that narrative is a thing that happened with Rihanna and Greta Thunberg. Like what this is my personal opinion. So like what Rihanna has to do with the farm protest going on in India. Okay, I understand the point of view that she has a great name, she has a great influence.
Okay. A hard pass.
Why?
I mean, it's like, are we saying that she has a great influence just because she is popular at a certain genre? Because, there are people who have massive influences. But do their voices really count? If they have influence, then bro, they do. It's like Kim Kardashian is talking about geopolitics.
But still, that is what I'm talking about. No, that is my point. Ki, what Rihanna have to do with that? Aisa. By protest in India. समझ रहे हो? What Rihanna has to do with that?
Honestly, it's similar to people in Afghanistan, women in Afghanistan, protesting for their rights.
See, I understand.
And we are talking about the Indian Prime Minister reposting that. It's like similar. Or not just the Indian Prime Minister, but let's just talk about Priyanka Chopra, or let's just say Dia Mirza ma'am reposting that. Okay? It's equivalent.
Okay.
It's equivalent because they are supporting a cause that they find meaning in.
But see, this is what I believe. Ki, the woman case is different because, and the farmer thing is different. Ask me why.
Why?
Because एकदम सिंपल भाषा में बोलो ना तो रिहाना का इन्फ्लुएंस फार्मर्स के ऊपर कोई ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला था इन अ सेंस कि ऑन ग्राउंड लेवल आई एग्री दैट ऑन सोशल मीडिया एंड ऑल बहुत बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंस रहता है लेकिन वॉट बेसिक सी चीज़ है कि वॉट रिहाना हैज़ टू डू विद द इंडियन फार्मर्स एंड देयर कॉजेज आई नो शी हैज़ टू डू विद द फार्म कॉजेज कहीं ना कहीं but still vaguely I don't believe that but still ऐसा.
What was the purpose of sharing that incident? Now we'll talk two parts about it: the motive and the after effects.
Okay.
Okay. The motive was just to show that something is happening in another corner of the world. Okay. And we mostly talk about what's happening in USA. We don't talk about कि China में क्या हो रहा है. We don't talk about India में क्या हो रहा है. This was an event that became very massive after Rihanna reposting it. Right?
Yes.
And that is maybe one of the reasons why the matter was solved. Not completely solved, but the tensions reduced down drastically. Okay? And I appreciated what happened because the struggle, the troubles ended. The farmers being stuck in massive crowds outside the border, outside Delhi's border for more than a month. That was dangerous if we talk about what the pandemic was going on, right? That was a dangerous thing. And at the same time, if we talk about this, what happened after Rihanna reposted it? Harassment, online assault, verbal assault.
That is I'm completely against.
This is completely what happened and you would be completely against it, right?
Yes.
But this is one of the things that just defines what humanity is or how humanity would behave. If the same topic was reposted by Leonardo DiCaprio, if the same topic was reposted by Will Smith, would Indians or would any person treat them in the same way? See,
opposing, I still believe that they will oppose Leonardo also
or Will Smith.
or Will Smith also. But that is what I'm saying कि harassment is a very वो एक्सेप्टेबल थोड़ा भी नहीं चाहे आई विल से कि मेल हो या फीमेल हो बट द थिंग इज द इन्फ्लुएंस की बात है दिस इज व्हाट आई बिलीव कि द इन्फ्लुएंस जो देयर आई पर्सनली बिलीव इफ यू सी इट फ्रॉम अ जियोपॉलिटिकल एंगल नॉट completely from a environmental angle but if you see it from a geopolitical angle there was a great conspiracy not just conspiracy but there were many fishy things.
I would honestly suggest.
चलो ठीक है इसको wrap up करते हैं.
I would honestly suggest let's go back because our main question was amorphous and sustainability.
Yes.
And
चलो let's get
for
back.
15 minutes we just talk about the geopolitical reasons.
Yes. Okay. चलो.
And yeah, we do love geopolitics. We'll have another podcast on that.
Just give me a second.
Yeah.
Okay. चलो. So tell me more about.
So we were talking about sustainability.
Yes, sustainability.
So what the course in what I spent 4 months in Japan, okay, learning this course, learning how things could be more sustainable. Okay. It was mainly focused on urban planning because I'm very interested into architecture.
Okay.
Okay, into planning cities. You know, I have this one goal of building a city from scratch, building like a perfect utopia.
Okay.
Utopia. A utopia, yeah.
Okay.
It's another funny word, but yeah, I would love to build a utopia someday in the future.
For me, it's a very funny word, utopia, because it never exists.
That's the motive, right? Building something that is so close to perfect still doesn't exist. And so I was studying about this course, sustainability, how we could do things better, green energy, green economy, right? It was still related to economics. And I learned a lot of things. My project was to figure out how we could make big buildings out of bamboos.
Big buildings out of bamboos. Okay.
The legit, like the cover photo of my presentation. So I gave this like amazing presentation in front of many people in Japan. Okay, here are some of the photos of them. And there were few very important people, including the governor of Tokyo and all.
Okay.
And something fun that happened was the cover was literally a skyscraper made with bamboo.
Bamboo.
A skyscraper.
Okay.
And like that was my vision. Bamboo is lighter, stronger.
Yes.
It's a magical material that the nature has gifted us, and we are not using it to a maximum.
In fact, if you talk about historically, ancient Japanese houses were made of bamboo.
Yes, exactly. So it's a part of the Japanese culture, but at the same time, it's a part of the Indian culture. Because like I originally belong from Bihar, right? And whenever I go back to the hometown, I see there are a lot of places like farms and all. There are benches made out of bamboo. There are houses made out of bamboo and mud and all. And when I look at it, I'm like, this is the most sustainable thing that could exist.
Yes, exist.
And it's like we are following the same thing. The future is the past.
Yes, that I have a very interesting take on it. That I sometimes believe because of this that the future is the past.
The future is the
तो
past.
मेरे को कभी-कभी ये लगता है कि modernization, I sometimes question modernization कि क्या modern होना जरूरी है?
Exactly. I mean, and this is not something जो हम सिर्फ houses में देखने वाले. This is not something. This is like the basis of the world. Like even if you talk about iPhones, it used to be curved. I had an iPhone 2. Okay, old one. A friend of mine gave it to us, and it was like it was curved. Then there was iPhone 4, which was square, flat square. Then we came to iPhone 6. It was round. It was very handy, pretty. And then again, by the time we came to iPhone 11, iPhone 12, it was square. We are going back again and again. Now we have had the square for 4 years, and it's getting boring. Are they going to make it round again? I mean, this is what's been happening, right? And it's the same pattern with almost everything.
Especially environment.
Especially designs. Like, there was this one scientific paper that came out, and I read a lot of scientific papers to keep myself updated.
Mine too. Me too, sorry.
Yes. And the title of the paper was, Big Cargo Ships Can Use Kites to Reduce Their Carbon Emissions.
हाँ तो बेसिकली वही है ना कि पिछले if we talk about 1800 ships, they used to sail like this only. 1400,
1600, yes, the pirate ships.
Yes,
I can hear the Caribbean song playing in the background.
Yeah. So there, as you said, it is going back to the past. Past is the future.
I want to be PewDiePie for a minute. It's evolving just backwards.
So yeah, continue.
So it's like the same thing. You know, the same thing was with sustainability, mein jo I learned. The modernization has made things very technology dependent, right? And we forgot the basis of what you used to do, what we were. And it's like, if we just take a minute and stop the development, if we stop the modern things, we could still survive very nicely.
Yes.
And that would be very much sustainable.
Yes. I totally agree with that. Totally. Ki cheezein, you don't have to be modern to survive, or not just to survive, or to live a very good life. You don't have to be modern. Necessary nahi hai modern होना अच्छी लाइफ जीने के लिए. Yes.
Like, we are present here. This is a marketing agency. Would you name the marketing agency?
Coward Digital?
Yeah. So Coward Digital has invited us and is hosting this. And we can see a wonderful PC setup out there, right? There are all these funny lights that makes it look amazing. LED lights, RGBs and all. Is that sustainable? That's not sustainable. There are so many lights that has no purpose. It's just for attraction. It's just
Attraction,
for it's pretty modern. It's the most modern technology
yes,
जो हमने
yes.
देखा है. But it is not sustainable. And the future is that we will go back to using simpler setups, right? We would go back to using maybe Mac Minis जो कि एकदम plain classic होते हैं, no lights, or something that won't have lights. And we will call that sustainable. We will call that an advancement, development.
So it's a paradox.
It's a paradox. It's a pattern.
Okay. So, sorry, continue.
And coming back to the Japan thing, after returning from Japan, I was like, damn, bamboo is such a special material. Why are we not using it enough? How can we make it better? How can we utilize bamboo better, right? And Siddharth, it hit me. It hit me that bamboo can be used to make fibers.
Bamboo fibers, yes.
Currently, there are more than 2,000 types of products made from bamboos. Papers, cups, desktops, computers. Computers ka outer layer. I have seen, this is funny, a computer made in a bamboo bottle.
Bamboo bottle?
It
so
sounds
uska
very
circuit
weird.
And all kaise fit kiya?
Inside the bamboo.
Oh, great.
And you know what the purpose was? It was cooling.
Okay, मतलब वो
It needed no fan.
हाँ,
And this was sustainable.
right.
As weird as this sounds, this was sustainable, and I was like, wow, this is fun. You know, but something. So it hit me like we could extract the bamboo ke fibers, soften it with some chemicals.
They are very. I've also heard that they are very lighter.
They are
very strong.
Very strong. So, you know, and we had this idea, if we could make fabric out of bamboo fibers, it would be the future. And I'm not sure how much future it's gonna be, because plastic and polyester and nylon, these are very cheap, right? Treating bamboo wouldn't be. But my purpose of finding out this process was to see if I could make a hoodie or a t-shirt out of bamboo, how sustainable would that be?
My question was about that only. Tell me about your merchandise of Potus, Amo
Yes.
Potus.
So this is exactly what I'm doing. So I believe that taking that gap year from my studies and doing that sustainable program in Japan helped me to figure out the purpose, or helped me to establish Amo Potus, right?
Okay.
And Amo Potus has been an amazing journey so far, and it's going to get better as we get into B2C next month.
Yes, great.
What we do is we sell clothes that are made with cotton, organic fibers, cotton, linen, and recycled polyester.
Recycled polyester.
Yeah, recycled polyester, recycled materials, like fast fashion. Fast fashion is the most disturbing thing that's happening right now. How many clothes did you buy this year?
I don't have any record, but
All right.
few
How many
t-shirts.
clothes do you think an average person in America buys? And we'll talk about America because their consumption is very
like
much
monthly high
In a year.
In a year. 100, 200 piece of.
Not that high, but we are talking somewhere in the margin.
मैंने थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही रख के बोला था.
On an average, it's above 50-60.
It's a still वो बहुत बड़ा figure है.
50-60 pieces of clothes that are going to be wore twice, 10 times maximum, and then it will be thrown out because it's no longer trendy. I mean, let's talk.
Trendy, but at the same time durable.
Yes, it's not very durable, right? Let's talk about the time the movie Gully Boy came out. Everyone across was wearing the t-shirt Apna time aayega. Bro, this is some nostalgia shit we are talking about, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I bought one too. Wore it 3 times, and right now it's in my closet.
नहीं वो पाप कभी मैंने नहीं किया.
It's in the closet locked. It's in the closet locked for more than 4 years. I am never going to wear that again, and I'm guilty of this. And when I looked back at the label, it was not cotton. It was polyester.
Polyester. Because it is cheap. It is easy to produce.
The difference between cotton and polyester is now, polyester can be made. Cotton needs to be grown. Cotton takes that 6-month long time to
I
be
know
made.
very well because my grandfather is a
Wow.
farmer and he produces. My uncle and my grandfather
Does
produces.
he still have a mill?
Huh?
Does he still have a cotton processing unit? Because I would love to make...
No. They just produce and they sell the cotton.
But yeah, coming back to the Amo Potus thing, it's like we decided to make hoodies out of
Sustainable
cotton,
materials.
recycled polyester, and those fast fashion things. More importantly, bamboo. We make things out of bamboo, and we have taken almost forever. The idea came back in 25th October previous year, 2022.
तुम्हें date भी पता है.
Yeah, I remember it. And it's a funny thing. I got this idea while I was taking a shower at 2 p.m.
A shower
At 2 p.m. Who does that?
I do, bro. Shower is something that कभी भी तुम shower लो ना, shower is the most productive. There was one I was hearing a podcast called The Internet Said So. It's a great podcast. You should check it out. So उसमें they were mentioning about creativity. So वो बोल रहे थे there was one artist, उसका नाम तो मैं फिलहाल भूल गया, but he used to shower at least 12 times in a day.
You know who you're talking about?
कौन?
It's I'm not sure it's the musician or something, but so I do screenplay writing and novel writing, right? There's a famous screenplay writer, Aaron Sorkin. Okay. He is the writer of The Social Network and The Trial of Chicago 7. Okay. He said this, that when he has a writer block, right? When he has a writer block, he takes a shower up to 12 times a day.
I'm talking about not in recent times. In
previous times.
थोड़ा पहले.
But this is something that Aaron said, and it's stuck with my head. It's stuck in my hand ever since, because I appreciate Aaron a lot. He has basically influenced my writing in many ways. And he's like, on a very bad day, he is very clean.
So basically, shower is a great place to have ideas, creative ideas. Yeah. Yes, continue. Sorry.
And I agree, because when I'm writing, I'm miserable. I would not want someone to walk in the room and see me write, because I am legit miserable. And that's the fun about creativity. But yeah, coming back to the bamboo thing, the Amor Porters thing, we served as a B2B company for a long time. We took the clothes.
Whom do you sell?
To businesses.
Like what kind?
So there are multiple type of businesses. Something that we are doing with people with government in Maharashtra and some parts of Haryana. What we do is we take the fabric, we hand that fabric over to villages, and someone from the government or administration goes and gives it out to the people. They teach them how to stitch it out, and they make it. This idea generated in Karnataka because the factory that is manufacturing that bamboo fabrics is in Karnataka. And we tried doing this in Karnataka, but it did not work for some reasons I can't mention here. And so what we do is, in that process, we are providing employments.
Great.
The motive, so I also raised fund to start this project earlier this year in March, but then I decided to return back the investment and shift to B2B. For I needed some more time to figure things out, right?
B2C.
Yeah. B2B.
They shift to B2B or B2C?
So we were planning to launch it as a B2C, but then, and we raised investment to get into B2C.
Okay, so for B2C, you raised investment
money. And then I handed over back to the investor. I'm very grateful for him to support me when I asked for it. And we decided to go to B2B again.
इस पे ही रहेंगे, वापस B2B पे ही रहेंगे.
Yeah, because I thought that was more appropriate. We got a government tender. I'm thankful for that government tender, because it saved the company. Otherwise, I would have probably closed it. And right now, we are back in a better financial situation, and we are preparing ourselves to launch the company on 25th October this year. So this is the 1 year anniversary.
Great.
1 year ago, I had the idea of getting clothes out of bamboo, hoodies out of bamboo, and right now, this year, it will be coming out.
Great.
I'm excited because in the Indian market, bamboo hoodies is something that you have never heard of. And what we are trying to do is, we are trying to be like the streetwear brand, the South Californian vibe, the New York hip hop style.
In short, trendy. Yeah, not trendy, but
it's like a part of this culture, this culture that fascinates all of us, and not just us, but like the whole world in certain ways, right? Everyone listens to those songs, and the motive is, it's sustainable. Being from an environment conscious background, being a climate activist earlier, I am very proud of building this. I love what we do at Amor Porters, and I'm more than happy to see this grow. There are lots of brands who are into that hip hop or streetwear things. We have some of our some of the top brands are Urban Monkey. Snitch is another one. Snitch is among the fastest growing fast fashion brands. We are trying to compete with them, maybe
be like them, but sustainable.
5-6 years down the line, we might be one of their top competitors, but in a sustainable way. I see you smiling, but hopefully.
Yes. That
5-6 years later, I'll be back on this podcast talking with you.
For sure.
And you would be wearing an Amor Porters hoodie.
For sure. मेरे को तो अभी चाहिए. My next question is, ऐसे ही था कि भाई मेरे को कब मिल रहा है?
25th October, I guess.
Okay, chalo. I'm expecting.
He got this on camera.
I got it.
अब तो देना पड़ेगा.
मेरे को चाहिए Amor Porters का sweatshirt made out of bamboo fibers.
Yeah. This would be fun.
Yes. Chalo. मेरे को क्वेश्चन क्लिक हुआ as you were talking about Amor Porters and Porters Foundation. I really wanted to know because I'm partially or fully, I don't know, but I know, but I'm associated with Porter's Foundation.
Yes.
I wanted to know from your perspective for the audience, ki how does an NGO work, non-governmental organization?
This is something that is very golden. Okay, this is a question that you won't really find the answer on the internet, or you would have to search a lot for it, right? And we were part of this journey together, right?
Yes.
We weren't able to accomplish goals the way we decided.
But we will.
Yes. And that's what happens with NGOs and companies in general. They are always supposed to dream high. Okay? They'll fall, but they'll still do things, right? And honestly, there are two ways of running a government or two ways of running an NGO, right?
NGO. Yes.
First one is having private donors.
Okay.
I am talking
Like big donors.
Yeah, big donors. And I am talking about the donations first, because this is where an NGO is based on. Where are you getting the money from to do social work, right? There are two ways. First, you could get big donors, maybe celebrities to endorse your program, maybe big companies,
Or government.
CSR, right? The corporate social responsibility.
CSR,
This is something that is very important. Back in 2015.
Just to sorry, but can you
Explain CSR.
Explain CSR.
Okay. Back in 2015 or 16, the Indian government made it compulsory for big corporations in India whose revenue exceeds 100 crore.
100 crores.
100 crores, right? To donate 1.5 to 2%
100 crore per annum.
per annum.
Okay.
To donate 1.5 to 2% of their profits, net profits, to organizations or to utilize that money in a way that helps the society to grow. That's the reason it's called corporate social responsibility. It's a responsibility if you're that
Of
big.
those corporates.
Yes, it's a responsibility if you're this big, you're supposed to help the society, right? So a lot of NGOs grew very well, okay? Because they were getting this whole source of money. Till today, Reliance industry is still the biggest industry. Last year, they donated 867 crores as CSR.
As CSR, 867 crores.
This is a very big number, right? But now what has happened? A lot of these companies are having their own foundations, right?
Like Reliance Foundation.
Reliance has its own foundation, right? Every other company has its own foundation. And even with celebrities, this is another thing. Celebrities are also, not just celebrities, but rich people are supposed to pay taxes, right? A lot of them are avoiding taxes by donating some or partially full amount of that money to foundations. And there are many foundations. Like if you talk about Salman Khan has his own foundation, Being Human, right? There are other people. Every other celebrity has their own foundation, and I have worked with a lot of them. Dia Mirza being one of them. Shawn Mendes Foundation is a foundation I've collaborated with. Thanks to the Rise Up Global, it was a fun thing. And okay, this is a fun story. I was on a video call with Shawn Mendes.
You told me that.
And 8 other people from the Rise Up team. From the Rise Up.
His foundation name is Rise Up.
No, Rise Up is a foundation that I was a part of.
Okay.
And all these 8 young teenagers between the age of 15 to 17, they were given an opportunity to talk and ask questions to Shawn Mendes. It's a fun experience.
मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है बहुत लोग ये सुन के jealous feel हो रहे हैं कि ये क्यों था, मैं क्यों नहीं था वहाँ पर, especially girls. Yes, continue.
I mean, I'll share something funny. This was at 3 a.m. in the Indian time.
IST.
I woke up, took a shower, dressed in the best outfit that I had, tried to look something like a rich kid would do in California or something, right? बहुत ज़्यादा ये, because this was a chance of me seeing Shawn and Shawn seeing me back. Right? I was very well dressed. Opened the call. I was like, my heart was beating. Thak, 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 thak. Opened it. There is Shawn Mendes in his banyan. Itching his head without a shower. Hi guys, this is Shawn Mendes.
Christopher, do you know about Shawn Mendes? Google karo khali.
Shawn Mendes, right now he has like 70-75 million followers.
He's a singer. वैसे just for Christy Bhai and people like Christy Bhai जो pop culture का knowledge थोड़ा कम रखते हैं.
He's that Senorita guy.
हाँ. वो गाना है ना Senorita.
Love it when you call. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं गा सकते, copyright आ जाएगा.
नहीं ऐसे गाने पे नहीं आता. Yes, continue. Sorry.
ठीक है. And there was Camila in the back scrolling the internet. I swear I was shocked.
इसका तो reel बनता है. If Shawn Mendes was on a video call.
But you know what we did? I paused that. I ended the call, went and changed my outfit in a regular black t-shirt, and I came back. because I was feeling the dumbest person there.
एक काम करो, तुम कमीना वाला वापस बोलो, मेरे को रील के लिए कट करना है. Yes.
Right. I'm not repeating that.
Okay, no worries. वो वैसे भी कट हो जाएगा. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is another fun thing.
हाँ. So we were on how does an NGO work?
So get the money. First thing.
First.
It's either corporates, it's either rich individuals, celebrities, or it's either governments.
Government.
Okay? And even we tried this, right? We started with the rich individuals. We came back to government tenders.
We did everything.
we tried everything. And that is the definition of how to run an NGO. You have to do everything. You have to try this. You have to try out. It reminds me of the dialogue from The Diplomat. The Diplomat.
Yes,
the series on Netflix.
Yes. Great series.
Wonderful. If you're someone who's interested in foreign affairs and all.
Yes, in geopolitics and how does government
the
works
best
and the
series.
people
Love
works.
every second of it.
Because I am a UPSC aspirant.
He is another. The future IFS.
No, I don't know.
The future ambassador of India to
No.
UK.
I don't know. Yes, continue.
Yeah, and there was this line where the diplomat's husband was giving a speech. Okay?
उसका character बहुत मस्त था.
Amazing.
Amazing character.
That speech was, when you are a diplomat and or when you are an ambassador, you need to talk to the people. You need to talk to the husband. You need to talk to the wife. You need to talk to the prime minister, to the president, to the dictator, to the victim. You need to talk to everyone. You need to talk with the terrorists because maybe, just maybe, if there's a chance, something will help out. And this is the same thing when we talk about NGOs. You need to talk with business owners. You need to talk with government. You need to talk with normal people who are working
Great
on
people of society, bad people of society.
Yeah, Siddharth and I were working on this topic about cleanliness and about cleaning the city up, right? And we talked about how we could help the front end in-ground workers.
Yes.
The cleanliness staff. What we call as kachre wala, but they are not the people who are kachre
We
wala,
are.
right? I think the mayor Rajni ma'am told us this, that they are not the people who are kachre wala. We are the kachre wala. They are safai wale.
Yes.
Right? And this is another one. So talk to the people. Get the funds. And you don't always need funds because Porter's Foundation is something where the plans were massive, right? So we tried getting funds. But I have worked with more than 12 NGOs and movements for the last 4 years. Only 3 of them were funded. Only 5 of them were registered. Baki ke were just group movements. They were completely volunteered, funded, volunteered run. And this is something I've learned. If there are good intentions in your heart, if you want to do good things, you don't need a big bank balance.
I personally believe that is very, very, very true.
Yes. You were a part of Robin Hood Army, right?
Yes.
I was fortunate to connect with the founder of Robin Hood quite recently. He's an amazing person. Admire him a lot. Harvard Business School, Google mein manager. Amazing. And I was watching his interview on KBC. He said, if the intentions at heart is good, you will figure out a way. And that's it. Out of the 13 NGOs that I have volunteered with, worked with, served for free, many of them did not even have a registration or did not even have a logo.
But still they were doing their work.
And I could see the influence. I could see the positive change, the impact it brought. And if you're someone who's passionate about the environment or about the hungry people or anything, just start. अपने 4 friends को उठा के लेके आओ, just go.
कि चलो आज volunteering करते हैं.
Yes.
किसी के साथ जुड़ के या खुद initiative लेके.
Yes, exactly. Now I recently joined a movement called Pune River Revival, right? I was supposed to go to United Nations Water Week this year. Earlier, you might have.
I also wanted, you continue this. I also wanted to talk about your connections with United Nations.
We'll come to that.
Yes,
we'll come to that. So there was this conference, the UN Water Week, and I was supposed to be there. I couldn't because of visa issues. And there was this thing that I heard: the health of a city depends on the health of its river.
Yes.
The river
sorry to again cut you out, but I was reading Arthashastra by Kautilya Chanakya. So Chanakya said कि कभी भी, in short, मैं just उसको randomly समझाने के लिए बोल रहा हूँ कि कभी भी उस जगह पे मत रहना जहाँ पे कुछ 5 चीज़ें ना हो, essential चीज़ें. कभी भी civilization वहाँ बस भी नहीं सकती और तुम कभी वहाँ पे रह नहीं सकते. One of them was river.
True. River is the most important thing. And so we live in Silvassa. There's a river and there's a riverfront project, right? The people of Silvassa, they love riverfront.
Yes.
The Pune government is trying to build a riverfront in Pune, but at what cost? More than 12 lakh trees are to be cut. Okay? And it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. Now, I am from Silvassa. I love the riverfront here. But back in Pune, the riverfront project is going to cost so much more than just rivers. Already, so there was this event, the Pune River Revival. We visited the whole river, surveyed it. Okay, there were a group of 30 people and an expert. And we saw the health. It's very bad. There was a place where a new bridge has been made.
Okay.
And the river is just down to 2 meters. And this is a major river we are talking about. This is among the 2 most important river in Pune. That riverfront project is going to destroy the marine life. Okay? And a lot of garbage is being put down in the rivers in Pune. And it's hurting. Because usually, we pollute the river the most. Because वो flow हो जाता है. It never stays. The river का कचरा, it flows away. That's why people never see how dirty they are making things up. How dirty this world has, how polluted this world has become. Right? And we are trying to educate people on why they should oppose this project. Now, I am someone who believes in urban development. Okay? I know a river project is important.
But at what cost?
A riverfront is very important. They build metros. They cut a lot of trees for metro. Okay? But Pune needed a metro. I am someone who uses it every day, and I appreciate them cutting down trees to build a metro that is going to reduce traffic traveling. Before the metro, you were supposed to stuck in the traffic for 2 hours to reach.
And burning a whole amount of
fuel. The amount of carbon fuel, the fuels that was burned, being stuck in traffic for 2 hours to reach the railway station has now been reduced by a 20-minute metro trip, which can become electrical in the future. Or maybe it still is electrical, but the electric is not clean. It's coming from the fossil fuels, right? Yes. Maybe someday in the future, jitne bhi Pune ke metro stations hai, right? Or metro stations all across the world, they can have solar panels, and it could function on green energy.
Yes.
So that project was justified because the 2 hours of being stuck in traffic with your cars on, with the smoke coming out of your cars, that was not good. But the riverfront project is not going to solve a problem. It's going to make the city look beautiful, and that is something we would love to see. But at what cost?
That was my question. At what cost?
And it's not needed. And this is another thing that happens. We even saw this in Silvassa. When the riverbanks are being cut, okay, and concrete is being put down, roots, they hold soil. And they absorb, they provide ways for the water to go down.
Yes.
Okay? Concrete se cover karne se, that roots has been cut out.
Yes.
It has been stopped. So it overflows. The suburbans, it overflows, it floods. If this project is built, there are chances that Pune is going to be flooded multiple times across the next decade and in the future.
See, talking about that concrete thing, na, if you take example of, I'll take example of Silvassa. There is a huge scarcity of water especially in summers in Silvassa because of solely one reason is
concretization.
Concrete.
This is something we talked about at the Porters Foundation as well.
See, just to make you understand, बेसिक सी चीज है. वाटर साइकिल के अंदर जब बारिश होती है तो बारिश होने के बाद जो पानी जो लैंड पे आता है वो वापस गोज बैक टू द ग्राउंड अंडरग्राउंड पानी चला जाता है, एंड फ्रॉम दैट वी यूज बोरवेल एंड ऑल. बट जब हम लोग मैसिव अमाउंट में कॉन्क्रीटाइजेशन या समझ गए जो करते हैं, हाँ, तो जब हम वो करते हैं ना तो वाटर अंदर जा नहीं पाता. इसकी वजह से 2 इश्यूज होता है. एक नंबर 1 एज यू मेंशन वाटर फ्लडिंग, एंड नंबर 2 ग्राउंड वाटर डिप्लीटिंग, और जिसकी वजह से हम लोग बोरिंग से भी पानी खत्म हो जाता है. फिर हम वापस और बोरिंग करते हैं. तो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वो सॉइल को भी इफेक्ट कर रहा है, वो फ्लडिंग भी कर रहा है, वाटर लेवल भी डिप्लीट हो रहा है.
बेसिकली पानी को हम कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, पानी खत्म हो रहा है, ठीक है, और पानी भर ही नहीं रहा है वापस.
हाँ, तो सिंपल, हाँ,
खत्म हो जाएगा वो. वी कम टू mid of April, May start hota hai, and the societies are running out of water.
Also, just to this is a thing that I heard, that government made mandatory for some of the societies to use bricks. Concrete की जगह पे bricks, ताकि वो पानी अच्छे से अंदर चले जाए. But what happened is that पहले concrete का layer किया,
उसके ऊपर से
and then उसके ऊपर brick. So उसका कोई
This is stupid. This is the reason humanity is supposed to doom. But yeah, and even when we were talking with the mayor ma'am, she mentioned that a lot of societies has been asked to leave some space in their society for the flooded water to go in. If you're covering 100% space and allowing only 0.5% of space for the water to go in, do you think it's gonna work?
No.
Simple.
Yes.
These regulations are not always going to work, right? And we as humans are supposed to find clever ways of overcoming these modernized issues. And all of these issues, as we talked earlier in the podcast, is because of modernization.
Yes.
As we talked about the brick thing, we started with bricks, we started with stones, then we came to bricks, then we came to concrete, and now we are again back to bricks. And we will realize that bricks के ऊपर से car जा रही है, bricks टूट जा रहा है, then we will go back to stones. This is the sad reality of modernization.
Yes. So going forward, I wanted to ask कि according to you, what are the three main concerns, environmental concerns? Three main, because you were in this field for I can say, decent amount of time. You
4.5 years.
Yes, you have a great experience of learning, observing, acting on that. So तुम्हारे हिसाब से, there are many of the environmental concerns, but तुम्हारे हिसाब से top 3 main concerns क्या है? Environmental concerns.
First one is fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels, okay. Elaborate.
When we talk about fossil fuels, the human society is made on fossil fuels. Every single thing has developed because of fuels.
Fossil fuels.
Plastic is a byproduct of fossil fuels.
Yes.
We have plastic on our phone ke cover, this iPad ka cover, this pencil, everything, right? We are covered with plastic, and it's an outproduct of fossil fuel. We realized that fossil fuel banane ke baad, theek hai, when we burn it to create energy, there's a lot of this material left. This can be utilized, and we started making things out of it, right? And that was harmful, and we realized it 60 years later. We realized it when things were bad, right? And now we are trying to get rid of plastic, but we can't because we are dependent on it. The same with the carbon emissions, the same with the fossil fuels. We know it's bad for environment. You know it's bad for environment. Everyone does.
But there's no comeback.
You
There's no go back.
can't get rid of it. And this is, this is something that a lot of people, companies know it's harming, governments know it's harming, but you can't just cut off fossil fuels in a day.
See, if you observe 100 years ago, 100 or before Industrial Revolution, do you think we were using plastic at all?
No. We were not.
Just 100 or 200 years ago, we were using plastic at all?
No.
But still we were surviving for a very long...
Plastics just came, the mass production of plastic came after 1960s. It's just 80 years. Your grandfather saw the development of plastic.
Yes.
My grandfather saw the development of plastic. Before that, life still existed. Human society still thrived. Stock markets were still present before there was plastic.
Yes. Stock markets were around late 1800s, early 1900s.
Actual stock markets started back in 1300s. This is a random fact because I'm in the finance world. I figured this out quite recently. There were ships, and the ships used to sail. There was no funding for the ship captains after they were dead, after they were broke dead.
Okay.
What would they do? They went out to the public. Hey, this ship is going to find a new sea route to India. Invest your money. If we find a new sea route to India, we would make a shitload of money and we would give you a shitload of money.
This sounded like a proper advertisement.
Yeah. And it worked. People gave them. A lot of ships died. A lot of ships never came back. But the ones they did, they made the people super rich. And this is how more and more people started doing this. And do you see a pattern here? It's the same thing that happens today. Back in 1992, Harshad Mehta and a lot of people around him made a lot of money in the stock market. That is why Indians started taking interest in stock market. It's the same pattern. People don't want to be told what to do. They need to see someone excel at it.
We are just influenced by everything.
Yeah.
Basically.
When I took a gap year, people were not happy about gap years. When my brother took a gap year, the family was like, why did you take a gap year? Now, when he has excelled after taking a gap year, they are encouraging their children to take a gap year.
So, similarly,
so there are celebrities who turned vegan and people criticize them. But then, 5 years down the line,
veganism is a great concept कि for vegetarians also if you travel abroad तुम्हें vegetarian food मिले ना मिले but तुम्हें vegan food मिल
Bro, I swear, I've been in Singapore, I've been in Japan for a long time, and I've been in what was this place? Vietnam. I was a vegan when I traveled that, and this is so bad. I was starving in Japan. Not because vegan food was not available, but because
it was expensive.
Not only was it expensive, it was. See, Japan is very expensive. All the anime fans who wants to go to Japan, gather money.
Shitload of money.
Gather a shitload of money. It's very expensive. So there was an Indian restaurant that I walked. So the first night of me being in Japan, I could not find a single piece of food in the store that was vegetarian or vegan.
Oh.
Now, Japan is still a rich place. Okay? It is growing. But Japan is an island. Veganism and vegan is not a very popular thing. There was a friend of mine who was vegan, and the agents, the Green Innovator Academy, shout out to them for organizing such an amazing course. They provided us vegan food 3 times. Okay? It was fun. It was good food. Tasteless. Japan food is tasteless. I say it on camera. But it was good food. Okay? Outside that, it was very expensive. I did not find vegetarian food in the stores, in the convenience stores. Everything was written in Japanese, and I am a person who could understand Japanese. I cannot read it. It's just too difficult to read it. I learned it on Duolingo, but you can't.
Arigato gozaimasu. Everywhere. Arigato.
Do you want me to do an introduction in Japanese?
No.
I was prepared to do that.
Someday we'll just have a conversation in Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay, coming back. Number 2. 1 is fossil fuel. Number 2.
Number 2 is the inactive action. And when I say the inactive action, there is a problem. People know there is a problem. Governments know there is a problem. Companies know that there is a problem. But the problem is not being taken seriously. And why is it not being taken seriously? Because we are made on the problem. We are made on fossil fuels, and fossil fuel is the problem. We can't get rid of it overnight. It's going to take years and years to come. For India, we are going to get carbon neutral in 1970 if we follow the plan that we made.
2070.
2070.
हाँ वही 1970 तो जा चुका bro.
So India is planning to become carbon
Net zero,
neutral by
net
2070.
हाँ.
That is still 50 years down the line. Okay? China is planning to do the same because these are developing countries.
ठीक है हाँ.
Okay?
China is.
The countries in the European Union have decided to get neutral by 2040. But you know what, according to scientists, says is important? They need to be carbon neutral before 2026 or the humanity is doomed.
Either they are.
So back in 2001, it was decided that the average world temperature needs to be controlled by 1.5 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, it's going to be harmful for the century.
Yes. There's a great report on that.
Yes.
वो report का नाम भूल
IIPC.
गया. Okay.
IIPC. In 2015, every country's in the Paris Agreement, every country's agreed to become carbon neutral.
जिसको Paris Agreement नहीं पता, Sarthak explain Paris Agreement.
So all the countries came together in 2015. They decided that they will try and become carbon neutral by 2030. ठीक है?
In short कि कुछ environment के लिए करते हैं ना भाई.
Yeah, कुछ environment के लिए करते
हैं अभी necessary environment.
They made an agreement. Everyone signed it. All the countries agreed to it. Back in 2000.
And what we call them COP.
The COP is different. COP is
COP is different.
COP is United Nations Conference of Parties, and these Conference of Parties decided to sign a treaty.
Yes,
Back in 2018, Donald Trump came in and he pulled out. Ki USA won't support this. After that, countries just abandoned it. People promised to become carbon neutral by 2030, and they have shifted. Including India has shifted it to 1970s. It's
2070s.
Not 2070s. It's not fair for
Why
all
are you
the
going
countries.
back to 90s?
Arey baba, used to it, na history wale. It's not fair for all the countries to become carbon neutral by 2030, right? Because by 2030, because some countries are just new. You can't expect Uganda to become carbon neutral by 2030. They haven't started growing.
Also, there was this issue कि the whole developed nations were क्या बोलते हैं ना वो थोपते हैं ना जैसा स्लैंग यूज होता है थोप दिया भाई मेरे तो they were thoping to they were thoping on developing countries कि भाई अभी तुम लोग को फाइन भरना पड़ेगा क्योंकि तुम लोग emissions कर रहे हो.
Whenever we talk about emissions of world, or the survival of mankind, the West, they always play the population card. Your countries in the East are overpopulated.
लेकिन ये चीज ऑब्जर्व नहीं करते वेस्ट कि ब्रो 1800s में 1900s में सबसे ज़्यादा इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन तुमने ही किया, सबसे ज़्यादा वो एनवायरमेंट आज हम इसमें है, उसका मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द रीजन वाज द इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन, एंड स्टिल यू हैव दैट गट टू से दैट हम लोग
25% of all carbon emissions in the history of mankind has been done by USA.
See,
if all the countries in the world were supposed to function by India's carbon emission, we would only take 0.7 planets to survive. What I mean is, agar sab log
0.7
planet Earth.
Okay, 0.7.
Yes. If everyone lived the way Indians are living, we wouldn't even need all the resources on Earth. But if we try to live the lifestyle that every American is living, we would need 5 bloody planets to survive. Think about it. If everyone,
there is a huge contrast in that. कि अगर if we live Indian way, तो we will only need 0.7%.
Exactly.
And if
everyone tries to live the way Americans are living, massive houses,
5
massive
planets,
cars,
we'll be needing 5 planets.
5 bad destroyed planets. You know what we learn here? Climate change is a sensitive topic. ठीक है? But are we in a position to blame the USA कि आपने ये किया है? No, we can't, because you need to maintain the geopolitical relations in order to move ahead.
Yes.
Can we blame the Britain? Can we blame these countries? They are responsible. We need to hold them responsible.
But हम लोग वही है ना कि हम लोग सिर्फ blame game करके नहीं छोड़ सकते.
But you still need to walk with those very same people in order to get what you need, in order to make sure the humanity survives. And we talk about the IPCC report. Coming back to the question, the second biggest problem is people know there's a problem. They are not trying to solve it.
So number 1 is fossil fuel. Number 2 is
inaction of the governments, of people.
Everyone.
Not just governments, of the people. When I knew about this problem in deep back in 2020, I turned vegan. Okay? Right now I'm not vegan, but I'm looking forward to become a vegan again by the end of the year. Okay? And I did it because of my personal knowledge, because of what I learned. And this is what I'll suggest everyone. There's a lot of misinformation everyone. And this is the third point. Greenwashing. What is greenwashing? Just explain to our audience. Greenwashing is the biggest problem in the world right now. Every other company is claiming to be sustainable, is claiming to be green. But are they truly green? No. Apple recently came out with a big, massive report about their sustainability report.
वो charger वाला.
Yes. And fun thing, Apple, every year it talks about how sustainable they are, right? How better they are doing for the environment. Recycled plastic, recycled metals, titanium metals, right?
Now iPhone 15 is made of titanium.
It's all greenwashing. You know why? Apple...
First explain to what is greenwashing.
It's like saying, okay, let's just say, it's like I am saying that this glass, okay, or this cup, it's recyclable. Is it recyclable? It's not. Glasses will take forever to decompose. They never do, actually.
So that is greenwashing.
That is greenwashing.
False marketing ke through you are selling your products.
Like, let's just say I'm running a Mopotos, right? It's a sustainable organic clothing brand. It's a sustainable clothing brand. If I claim today that Mopotos is the most sustainable brand out there, in some ways that would be a lie. If I claim that Mopotos is completely sustainable, in some way it's not. Okay? And I have the audacity to be honest about this. Brands don't. Okay? Apple always constantly lies about how sustainable their products are. They gave you the reason that they won't supply a charger. So that people who already have a charger will use their charger, right? Why are you making a phone? They already have a phone.
मेरे को बहुत funny.
What happened is जितने लोगों ने नए iPhone लिए, they ordered an extra charger. Think about the shipping of an extra charger. Think about all the plastic they put in.
See, there is also, I wanted to add, because the topic of Apple is going on. पता है what our parents still do and what our grandparents used to do, कि वो लोग क्यों sustainable थे? Because they were using their products in a way कि अभी what our mentality is कि what we do कि कोई चीज़ हुआ खराब हो गया, we throw it, we buy a new one. What our parents used to do, for example, if we talk about our footwears, what they used to do?
Repair it.
रिपेयर करके चलाते थे. अगर if you talk about clothes को भी रफू करके चलाते थे
भाई.
So that is
कपड़ा खराब हो गया, बड़े भाई ने छोटे भाई को दे दिया, छोटे भाई ने छोटे भाई को दे दिया, और उसके बाद वो पोछा वाला बन जाता था, और उसके बाद भी उसको फेंकते नहीं थे.
वही,
उसके बाद भी कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता था.
कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता. वो गाड़ी के साफ करने के लिए कुछ ना.
नाउ दिस इज द फास्ट फैशन वर्ल्ड. आपने कपड़ा लिया, 3 बार पहना, वो अंदर 4 साल के लिए पड़ा रहेगा. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द अपना टाइम आएगा टी-शर्ट दैट इज इन माय क्लोजेट.
I hold you guilty for that.
I am guilty for it.
I hold you guilty.
I am
for
very
that.
guilty for it. But
Yes.
I'm still trying to be better, and I'm trying, and my being better is starting a sustainable clothing brand so that
तुम ऐसे you are compensating.
so that other people don't make the same mistake, right?
Yes.
And since we were talking about the Apple thing, right? It's all marketing. You know, H&M claims that they are becoming sustainable. Apple claims
मेरे
they
को
are
तो बहुत बड़ा
sustainable.
hoax लगता है. क्यों पता है वो? क्यों? हाँ, sorry, you continue.
The whole thing is, Apple is a company that is very big. It's $3 trillion. It's bigger than India's GDP. Not nominal. ठीक है?
तो ठीक. Not nominal, not real.
Not. No, it is the real one, not the nominal one. Anyways, it's close by. ठीक है?
Okay.
Let's just assume it's the same. ठीक है? The problem is Apple is worth $3 trillion. You don't get to that level of market value without being exploiting resources. Half of their revenue, half of their 390 billion का revenue comes from the sales of iPhone. ठीक है? And they need to make sure these iPhones sell every year. So they make their products weaker. A lot of new cases are coming out that even after having titanium bodies, the iPhones are breaking easily.
I was just 2 दिन पहले I was reading that article कि
Exactly.
No, I was not reading an article. I was watching पलकी शर्मा. हाँ, उन्होंने ये स्टोरी चलाई थी on vintage कि Apple products are the iPhone 15 variant is very titanium body claim करने के बाद भी they are very easily breakable. There are heating issues.
They are claiming it's titanium body, so people would be careless. And once it breaks, you'll have to buy another one.
Genius.
It's very genius. So I also run a marketing agency, right? And it's a very genius move. But at the same time, when you look at, you could achieve a lot of things through marketing, right? That is what the greenwashing is all about. Claiming to be something and not being that. This is a sustainable piece of clothing. This is a sample product for Amorphotos brand. Okay? It is sustainable. Okay? But there are other pieces of clothing that I own that are not sustainable. Okay? What if I sell you a polyester t-shirt saying that it's organic and it's sustainable? I would be lying, right?
You are fooling. Not lying. You are just
You are making fool. That is what greenwashing is all about. And you know, when we talk about greenwashing, it's not a new concept. And not just the greenwashing, the whole climate change thing. This is a very sensitive thing that a lot of people don't know, but they should. Okay? The reason I'll make sure I'll cover this in English and you could repeat it out in Hindi. The problem is, back in 1980s, companies like Shell, CV, okay, Chevron, and all these big, massive fossil fuel companies, they knew that climate change was happening. Their scientists worked for it for years and predicted how bad it would be by the end of 2020 or by the end of 2050. Recently, these documents and these research papers were discovered by the federal government.
Okay.
And it's disturbing how accurate it was. They could predict the wildfires in California every year. They predicted the wildfires in Australia. They predicted mass flooding in the Indian subcontinent, including and mainly the Pakistan floods. It's not over. It's gonna happen over and over again. And they knew about this. They knew about the flooding in New York that is currently happening. New York is underwater right now. And they knew about it. But what did it do? What would you do? You would tell it. You would talk about it, right? But talking about it would mean people would move away from fossil fuels all of a sudden. And their companies would die. And this is New York we are talking about. This is American corporates. And when you talk about corporates, it's made on greed. What they decided, instead of not just not talking about it, they started hiding it. And they started funding projects that were opposite to this. And when I mean this is a terrible thing, right? You know something bad is happening because of your product, and you are not only hiding this fact, you are marketing the opposite. Can science even predict climate? Can science even predict weather? This was something popular that came through. They blamed things that seasons are not regular. Seasons are supposed to be different, random.
Bro, in Indian context, this is very different. Samir, because in our culture, we have the accuracy that we used to carry specifically for geography.
Talk about India. What was the last time you knew summer कब खत्म हो रहा है? We used to know कि ये 4 महीने summer है, ये 4 महीने winter है. Last year it rained in December. It was warm as hell in January. And it was cold in October. These things have changed.
Because of climate.
I live in Silvassa. We all live in Silvassa, right? Mostly. The average temperature in Silvassa has went from being 26 10 years ago to 36 to 38 on an average day in Silvassa. And this is 10 degrees Celsius in 10 years we are talking about. Because Silvassa is near the
Coastal, it's
the coastal,
near coast.
we have such a great difference. The global average temperature was supposed to be controlled by 1.5 degrees Celsius.
1.5
And it was decided in the Paris Agreement that will happen by 2030. You know what happened? According to scientists, in 2026, we would be way beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius. So not only did we fail to achieve the goal, we failed to achieve the goal earlier.
अलग ही एकदम
2030 में फेल होने के बदले हम 2026 में ही फेल हो
26 में
गए.
ही फेल हो रहा है.
इट्स लाइक 10वीं की परीक्षा 10 में फेल होने के बदले आप 8 में ही फेल हो गए और कभी दिया ही नहीं आपने. And this is another problem, greenwashing. And greenwashing is mainly because of marketing. And since
solely because of greed.
Solely because of greed and evilness, and via the medium of marketing. And since I mentioned marketing, I run a marketing agency. It's called Cetus Media. And we partner with a lot of media agencies. I have worked with influencers a lot. And
tell me more about that.
See, so we used to be in Silvassa. We shifted to Pune quite recently, and we are trying to get an office and set ourselves down there. The motive of Cetus Media is to market things. Okay? It's a profit-based company. Unlike another ventures of mine like Amor Portus and...
they are NGOs, non-governmental.
They are NGOs. Even Amor Portus. I have never made a single rupees out of Amor Portus so far. I will start getting in better... I will start making money from Amor Portus maybe by the end of the year once we get into B2C. But I poured everything I had into the government tender. It was all about helping the people, right? And now that I am an 18-year-old who has moved out of his house, trying to live on his own, pay his bills on his own, it's exhausting, right? So I will get to that. The marketing agency, Cetus Media, is based in Pune right now.
Okay.
We mainly like to work with companies who have recently done a fundraising.
Okay.
They are not as huge. They don't have a team of their own to do marketing, right? But they have the money and they require marketing, right? So we serve them. We currently have over 10 people, 10 employees, and 2 of them are major designers who are outsourced. One of them is a design professor. He has over 10 years of rich design knowledge, and I'm more than happy and proud to have him in the team, right? And the main focus is to do marketing, but with the things that we talked about. Marketing
like
is
that
evil.
was my question, ki what is your vision related to all of this? Like what are you doing? Like you are doing environmental stuff, you are doing marketing. So overall combine करके अगर मैं निचोड़ बनाऊँ तो what is your vision?
See, as you might know, I have a philosophy of my own. I have a way of looking at things, and I have developed this after reading through a lot of other philosophies. From the Greek time to the modern times, from Chanakya to Karl Marx and a lot of people, right? I have developed a way. And there are things I would like to do that I feel is for the betterment of the society. So this is something I'll say. My current book, okay, it's called Inside a Teenager's Mind. The first poem of the book is called Prayer. Okay? And it goes like, universe is balanced on the 3 pillars of Tha Blank: time, energy, and life. The power of the universe, show me the path that I shall follow to be what I ought to be. The power of the universe, show me the path that I shall follow to become the best version of myself for all mankind. And that is my goal. To become the best version of myself for all mankind, to help people. You could either be a bookshelf or a sculpture. To be the sculpture, you need to do things that will serve the mankind. You need to become better, right? Amor Portus was because I was in a position after researching on bamboos that we could make this into fabric. And because no one else is doing, what's stopping me let me try to find a way of eradicating fast fashion. Maybe I'm not successful for it yet, but I tried. Right? Porter's Foundation, we were together. It was a similar goal, making the best choices that would help the society to grow. When we talk about Cetus Media, it's for profit because I am very good at marketing with 6 years of experience. I'm 18, but with 6 years of experience, it's a fun thing to say in India. But yeah, I want to do marketing. I want to learn the art of marketing. But as I explore more, marketing could be truly
Let me
good.
guess your favorite book.
Do
Shoe
it.
Dog. Am I right? But at least, मतलब not just a favorite, but तुम्हें पसंद तो होगी Shoe Dog.
Shoe Dog is an amazing book. So I bought a copy of Shoe Dog last year. Like not last year, like 2 years ago. I read it in school. Within 16 hours of me getting the book, it was over.
So see,
I
your favorite
slept,
book is
I
Shoe
went
Dog.
to
I am
school.
telling that.
And yeah, Shoe Dog talks about how they build a culture. And this is something that I see myself doing down the line in 10 years. I have this clothing brand coming up. I have this NGO. Amor Portus is going to donate a lot of his profit to the Portus Foundation, and we will use that money to serve the environment,
Society
serve
back.
the society. You know, when I mentioned that I have worked with so many NGOs before, we worked for free. I never took a pay until quite recently. Okay? And most of that time, I wondered if I could do something that would get me the money to run these NGOs. Imagine how well I would be able to serve the environment, or
True.
the people, or the society.
True.
That's the goal of Amor Portus. Down the line, 5 years down the line, I see ourselves becoming the biggest sustainable clothing brand.
For sure.
And maybe get into the luxury segment because I also want to satisfy the designer things
So,
I have.
Just to conclude, you are trying to earn money with your marketing, and you wanted to channelize that money in Portus Foundation
Portus
environmental work.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't want Portus Foundation to be limited to environment.
Yes.
Down the line, it's going to be so much more. It's going to be something like the United Nations, maybe a private United Nations.
अरे बाप रे,
As
अरे बाप रे, अरे बाप रे.
As crazy.
क्या पता तुम्हें country बना दो Portus.
I mean,
By the way, what is the meaning of Portus?
okay, Portus is a French term. It's a mixture of two French words called pour and tus, which stands for all.
For all.
And you know this, where does this come from? The prayer. The best version of myself for all mankind. So it's all interrelated. If you read that poetry book, and there's another poetry book coming down, so for all the people who are watching this, I am a poet and I have a new poetry book coming down on 25th December 2023 on my 19th birthday, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a 300-page long book filled with lots of poems, stories, narratives, interesting philosophy. And if you understand that book truly, you would understand me as a person. You would understand the purpose of my existence, the purpose of everything I do, the purpose of me being friend with Siddharth. I'm pretty sure one of those poems will mention it, you know. And I mean, we laughed when I said I would like to, Portus Foundation to be a private United Nation. It was funny, okay? But the truth is, there was this one quote that I read. If people don't laugh at your goals, is it big enough? It's not big enough if people don't laugh at it.
And by the way, I want that you should not aim to be a United Nation in recent time. Because,
better than United Nations,
because
we won't discuss it here.
वरना हमारा channel बंद हो जाएगा. But continue.
Yeah, that was one of them. But you see, these things I am doing what I think is the best. That is with most of the people. I am doing the marketing thing because I love marketing, right? We are sitting here on a podcast. Thank you, Coward Media, for getting us here. See what I did here. And this is another marketing agency. Marketing is the purpose of life. You see, my view of marketing is quite simple. 2000 years ago, how was society working? You as a boy, as a male, would go out, get the best resources to provide to your family. And we are not very different today. You would go out, get the best job for your family, right? 2000 years ago, only the rich king ke bacche could go and afford an education gurukuls mein. Today, everyone is able to get that education and come back and provide better. It used to be a luxury. It's common, right? We are not very different than 2000 years ago. Fighting with each other, to get a job.
वो basic human instinct तो वही रहेगा.
Yes. And it's like marketing is the only thing that matters. For a person who would have wanted to become a king or a powerful person in the society 2000 years ago, there was a way. Influence people. To influence people to become richer, to become powerful. There are only few ways. Money, influence, power. It used to be physical strength, now it is non-physical strength, but it is the power of your influence. Today, the only thing that matters is influence in this world.
See, I wanted to ask a very different question, just to be a devil's advocate. The kind of vision that you shared with us, I wanted to ask that ki, first of all, as you said, ki the oil companies were doing this and doing that. They had all their calculations, but still they go with the So basically, my question is that you are doing for environment, but still you are taking like the corporations that are destroying the environment. Still, you are going the path of the corporation, serving the environment. Just to be a devil's advocate.
True. I'll say this out. You see, a lot of people come and ask me about the oil protests in Europe and places. Right?
I have that question. What is your take on the oil protests going on in Europe and the West?
This is a burning question, and I'll take it with a shot of tequila. I don't drink tequila. I don't drink anything.
Yes. You also don't drink water?
If you could pour, I would.
Sure, man. Yes, continue.
All right. See, I believe the influence against these topics are massive. Fossil fuels have been funded in the last decade with more than $400 billion.
$400
billion by the massive banks.
Okay.
Citibank. All
the
banks.
leading bank in USA.
Yes. Not just USA, but the whole world.
Whole world. Yes. I guess it's बहुत बड़ा बैंक, सबसे बड़ा बैंक है.
You could also count the Morgan Bank. Okay? And all of those banks. The problem is,
I think, sorry just to cut you out, but मेरे को लगता है ना इनके, we should do a separate podcast just talking about the conspiracy theories around them.
I am always ready. I see I see myself coming to covered media over and over again, recording this amazing podcast with Siddharth.
ठीक है, सिर्फ conspiracy theories related to America, the banks, the businesses,
geopolitics.
the corporate, geopolitics.
All the geopolitics
ठीक है,
conspiracies.
चलो ये episode you will, our audience will get to see on Mindmix Podcast for sure.
We still talked a lot about geopolitics.
Yes.
But yeah, coming back to the question, could you repeat the question?
My question was that you are doing for environment, but at the same times the corporates that hurted environment, जो बहुत badly impact किया, you are still taking that route or that means. How do you justify that? ऐसा ये I'm asking this question from a devil's advocate.
See, I have worked in Fridays for Future for a long time.
Okay.
Most of the people know Fridays for Future who are active about these topics. For those people who don't know, it was started when a 16-year-old girl went to the streets with a sign to strike. She skipped her school to protest the inaction of the world leaders against climate change.
Okay.
Her name was Greta Thunberg, and now most of the world knows her. 15 million followers on Instagram. Nominated for Nobel Peace Prize as a 17-year-old. Her resume is great. The topic is, she did everything she could.
चलो मैं फिर भी just again to be a devil's advocate. Why Greta Thunberg travels in private jets if she is doing her own work?
She doesn't.
कौन बोला?
मैं बोला.
कैसे? Why she is publishing books जो इतना सारा trees and copies cut करता है?
You see, this is the problem. You can't be a complete saint. You can't be a complete saint when the rest of the world is burning in hell.
Okay.
You can't be a saint in hell.
Okay.
Think about this so this is something which is I see a lot of people coming and be like, vegans are this, vegans are bad, vegans are dumb, vegans are stupid.
That tag one.
Right? You know who the smartest people on the planet are? Vegans. I'm gonna be trolled for this, but I was a vegan and I'll be one of them.
मैंने नहीं बोला.
most of the celebrities are vegans. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they have hired the best doctors in the world. They have hired the best skin treaters in the world. Doctors who take care for their skin, for their health, for their bones, everything. And they are vegan.
Okay.
Make a list of Indian celebrities who are vegan and you will be surprised to see more than 80% people are vegan. You know why?
Or at least vegetarians.
Or at least vegetarian. You know why?
Why?
Meat. It hurts the body in some ways. Milk. So my family is completely non-veg and I'm the only person who's vegetarian or vegan. Used to be vegan, will be vegan soon. Okay? Milk causes cancer a lot.
How? Like मेरा पूरा जनरेशन, मेरा दादा, मेरे दादा, मेरे पापा, मेरे परदादा, सब ने, like for example, for a farmer family, just because I belong to a farmer family, when during the सूखा के टाइम पे there was nothing.
I'll answer this question.
But milk, जिसने अपना पालन पोषण किया.
What I'm saying is, milk is not bad. Okay? But in many cases, milk causes cancer. And I'll answer you quite on the point.
Yes.
Milk is not bad for the body, but the milk that I am talking about right now,
the processed one,
the milk that is not bad for the body is when it comes from a single cow.
Okay.
If you drink milk, that is a mixture of thousands of cows who don't have a healthy lifestyle. They are being forced to live the studio room. There are 15 or 20 cows.
Yes.
They are forced to live in 6x2 for their whole life. And that milk, if you consume, it's not good for your health. I still support the farmers who have a cow pet in their houses in India. But I would rather drink milk from them than to consume the Amul milk.
Packets.
Okay? The reason is because not only it's harming the animals, it's against the animals' right.
Okay.
It's harming the animal, its life. It's also bad for us. And this is again something similar with milk happened. So there's a whole topic I could talk for another hour about the milk producers and the US government. You know, US government had to pay farmers to stop producing milk.
But this is what I believe. Sorry to cut you again, but my role is to counter everything. Okay. So I also talk with my friends. मेरा जो circle है, we always talk about history, politics, religion, geopolitics, everything, economy. So I always mention this thing that you can't see India with the similar lens that you are seeing the West. ठीक है. So if you talk about कि US में ये है या US में वो है, like India is a different thing. India का culture अलग है. India में जो animals को रखते हैं जिस हिसाब से, वो चीज़ अलग है. Commercialization में एग्री करता हूँ, बट मैं प्राइवेट के हिसाब से बात कर रहा हूँ, पर्सनल लेवल पे. सो आई पर्सनली बिलीव, और जस्ट टू काउंटर यू, ऐसे ही मजा आ रहा है मेरे को.
See, I'll agree to you up to a certain point, and I'll disagree to you after a certain point. I was vegan when I learned about how bad it is. I decided to turn vegetarian again for some time, for 6 months after my bad experience in Japan, because I realized it's not completely my responsibility. I have been vegan. I have taken actions to tackle climate change. Okay.
Just a very basic question.
Let me finish before people start commenting on this podcast that Sarthak is dumb.
Chala.
Okay. I became a vegetarian again because the situation in India is a bit different. And if I get my milk, I still don't drink milk. I usually consume paneer or curd or something.
So that is made up of milk only now, bro.
I'll make sure that those products are not the manufactured ones.
Okay.
These are the ones that are coming directly from the milk farmers.
Okay.
Private milk farmers.
Okay.
It's about what's your take on it. See, we consume things. Milk is literally good. And but if you make sure that milk 3 महीने तक खराब ना हो,
then तो I agree.
It's the private world का greed that has made milk.
Just to summarize it, everything is good if it is not processed.
If it is not mixed with things,
or
that is not good for your body.
Or it is not made in a certain way that it can last for few months and all.
True. And about the milk thing, I'll say there's a whole conspiracy that has happened. Not conspiracy, a list of events that has happened in the USA. But I'll talk about the main thing. There was a campaign in 1960s that talked about how milk is good. It was nothing. It was not from a dairy company. It was from the whole dairy industry. No brand had their marketing on it. And as someone who's in marketing, I was researching about this. And all the celebrities were taking part of milk. The campaign was simple. They used to drink. They had a cup of milk, a glass of milk in their hand, and a white smile. After drinking milk, you get a white mustache, right? It was that. All the celebrities enjoyed doing it. These are some of the ways how they have shown that milk is good, but their processed milk is not good. This is the same way fossil fuel companies has always claimed that global warming is a hoax. Is it a hoax? You live in Silvassa, you have seen the effects of global warming. Is it a hoax? No. Is it a hoax for the 200 people who have died in Pakistan floods last year?
No.
Is it a hoax for the $2 billion worth of loss of property in Gujarat last year's in the hurricane that happened? No, it was not. Right?
No.
For the companies that are making profit out of it, is it good?
No.
The simple thing is, milk is good for the farmers. Milk is good for the corporations who are making billions of dollars.
Okay.
And there are things that are happening, but it is not shown to the world because it is being opposed by things. Vegans are smart.
Okay.
Vegans are actually smart.
Okay.
And they are doing things because of the knowledge they had. Now, I have always seen people, I have seen Joe Rogan commenting on this. I have seen Neil deGrasse Thomas talking about how vegans are stupid. This is a podcast and I would like to say out, vegans are not stupid. They are smart.
Okay.
I have been a vegan, but I have never forced a person to leave non-veg. Everyone in my family except me is a non-vegetarian. Does that make me dumb? Does that make me stupid? It doesn't. I decided to be a vegan because, to my understanding, there were things that was not good for the environment. I was a vegetarian my whole life because I did not like to harm animals ever since I was 2 or 3. The reason I never consumed a single piece of non-vegetarian food, a single piece of meat, chicken. I used to eat eggs. I stopped eating eggs by the time I turned 8 because I realized that is not something I would like to do. I decided to stop consuming milk when I realized it's not good for the environment. And it's not good for the cows either.
Okay.
Have you ever visited a cow shelter? Not
Yes.
India wala.
No.
Not also in India, not the local ones, not the private
The
goshalas.
commercialized
Have
one.
you been in Amul's factory?
Yes, I have. And I have seen some things that are questionable.
Not everything is good just because there is thing. And this is what I talk about always. Marketing is the most evil industry.
And you want to be in that.
I am in marketing and I will say this out. Marketing is the most evil industry. This is the industry that is going to ruin Earth. It's not fossil fuel, it's marketing. Because this is where the influence is. And as I mentioned, in this world, influence is everything. In today's time, influence is everything.
Everything.
I am here
Agree.
because the better I learn the subject, the better I'll be able to oppose what's been happening. I'll be able to oppose greenwashing. Right?
So you are like कि
कीचड़
गंदा है
कीचड़ साफ करने के लिए कीचड़ में कूदना पड़ता है. The Nayak's dialogue.
Yes.
If everyone thinks that it is dirty, it's evil, we
किसी
should
को तो
not be
कूदना
there.
पड़ेगा.
Someone has to be there.
Okay.
You know, see, there are and it's like my goal is to just become the biggest influence in this world and then try things and advocate for things that I believe in. It's that simple. You have read my philosophy, you have read my poetry. There are people who have read my books. There's a new book coming out. And there's a whole sci-fi franchise I'm working on. This is the first time ever I'm saying this out
on
on
Mindmix
camera.
Podcast, exclusive.
I'll say this out as well because let's make this fun.
Yes.
It's going to be a series of 30 plus sci-fi novels, a whole franchisee called the Utopia franchisee.
And you have named it Utopia.
Utopia.
Oh man.
The main character is called Sam Collins, whose actual name is Samarth Collins. Okay? He is an Indian American boy. And the whole thing is around this boy. It's a very special thing. And I'm not just saying it because I am the creator and the writer. I am saying this because I have been offered things for this franchisee and I have turned them down because I would like to pursue this project on my own.
Great.
You know,
Appreciate.
back when I was 11th and 12th in the Lion School, I used to have like itne bade baal. And people used to be like, bhai, kyun? Why did the principal agree to that? Why did the chairman agree to that?
Because your deeds.
Because of the things I was involved in.
Yes.
And you see, it's going to be fun. I would love to come back here after
For sure.
10, 15 years
For sure.
down the line when this project is out.
For sure.
When people have read this book.
For
when
sure.
few things that we mentioned here are accomplished.
Sure.
I aspire to be one of the greatest people who have been on the planet.
Wow.
And that is something that a lot of us do. That is
Yes, indeed. Like to
Isn't
go
that
on a
the
very
purpose?
basic
Isn't
level.
that
Ki
the
bro,
purpose?
everyone thinks, even I think till now, I'm sure millions of people think, ki, bro, I have to do something great for the society, and I want to leave a legacy behind.
you can't do something good for the society until you put yourself in that position. Until you get in that position of influence. And as stupid or as paranoid as this sounds, I would have to get into that position, or you would have to get into that position to leave that legacy. The purpose you are doing PSA is because you want to get into a position of power, of influence, where you could use that influence to do good things for the society, right? लोग कलेक्टर बनना चाहते हैं ताकि वो समाज की सेवा कर सके और खुद भी कंफर्टेबल रह सके, right? But समाज की सेवा is the purpose. If I give a UPSC examination, it would be because it would put me in a position where I could influence good things. And you have seen me doing that right now. And my people have seen me doing that. And that's it. That's all it is.
Great. It
Be
was a
good. Be good. Become better. Serve the world. That's all your purpose is. Life is meaningless. It's all about what meaning you make out of it.
True.
And I might sound like a really philosophical
Man,
person
bro,
right now.
it is, bro.
With my hair growing like a 16th century philosopher.
You just the only thing that you are missing is a long beard.
Maybe like Rabindranath Tagore. You know,
Yes, Arey bro, he's my favorite guy. Have you read Rabindranath's?
every single
Not Tagore,
piece-
Thakur.
Yes.
Yes,
Thakur.
and your surname is also Thakur.
Thakur.
So respect that. Don't say
I do.
Rabindranath Tagore. Say Rabindranath Thakur. Robbie Thakur.
Robert Thakur.
Yes.
You know, there's something I'm going to do. The sci-fi franchise that I'm working on. It's going to be published by the name S. Premnath Thakur
Alright.
or S. Premnath Tagore. The reason I'm silencing my
Thakur,
name...
not Tagore, please.
We will talk about this after this podcast.
Okay, chalo.
The reason I would like to name it S. Premnath Thakur is, or S. Premnath Tagore is, for two reasons. I would like to thank the two people who are influenced, who are the reason I am who I am today. It's my father and it's Mr. Rabindranath Thakur. The Nobel Prize came into existence in 1912 when Mr.
Alfred
Nobel.
Nobel.
He decided that his wealth, equivalent to $1.5 billion today, would be distributed among the world forever as Nobel Prize awards. Okay? And Rabindranath Tagore won the award in 1912, right after the year it was made. This was the genius that walked on the planet.
I mad respect for
Rabindranath Tagore is an inspiration. I love him. Okay? He is the person who showed the world what poetry or what the rich art of India is.
Yes.
The most
Indeed.
respected person.
Indeed.
The Britishers respected him.
Yes,
They
man.
gave him a knighthood.
Yes, man.
The Europeans, they awarded him a Nobel Prize. He has been the most recognized person in the world, and we are forgetting that.
Yes.
He wrote our national anthem, and we are forgetting him. The last Nobel Prize in literature we had was back in 1912 when Mr. Rabindranath Tagore won it.
And I personally believe that we only know Robbie Thakur as the person who wrote our national anthem, or some way, in a sense, he was involved in our freedom struggle or that. But uske beyond the works of him, he was a painter. वो क्या नहीं थे?
See, this is
The kind of but the level of poetry, the nuances उनकी poetries में थी, जो types of metaphors वो use करते थे.
Yes.
It was just it's a very hot take, but I will put Robbie Thakur, although मैंने सबको पूरी तरीके से नहीं पढ़ा है in that process, but currently I've also learned about Shakespeare, but I will put Robbie Thakur above Shakespeare. It's a hot take, but it is what it is.
I would agree, as someone who has a book on his desk that is named The Complete Work of Shakespeare and a Gitanjali, the most legendary poetic book ever. That is the book that got to the Nobel Prize.
Yes.
Rabindranath Tagore or Thakur is the greatest author, poet to walk on the planet.
Yes, indeed.
And the world doesn't value it as much as I do or you might do, is because we never respected him the way he is supposed to be. And this is something I would like to bring back. The reason I would use the name S. Premnath Tagore is to bring back the word Tagore for some time so that world could remember the original Tagore. It's a tribute from me to him for influencing me to become better, to become a better storyteller, and to my father, who has a very poetic name for some reason. He should have been a poet. I always tell him, right?
Yes.
This is my way of paying tribute to two of the most influential men in my life.
That's very great.
And about that thing, we should value him more. Shakespeare is good. Rabindranath Tagore is no less.
Yes. If Shakespeare is great, Rabindranath Thakur is like Ultra Pro Max. According to us.
512 GB variant.
Yes. Chalo.
One last thing I'll say. You talked about what's my vision. It must have been small, but I'll share. Life is meaningless. It's all about what you make it to be. And Siddharth, what my purpose in life is?
What, Sarthak?
To become better. To become the best version of myself for all mankind. There are people like you mentioned, Rabindranath Tagore, a painter, an amazing author, poet, imaginary, freedom fighter, social worker. There's another person from the history that I admire blindly. He's Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci. Amazing poet, painter, scientist, novelist, genius.
I guess for Da Vinci, genius is also a very minute
small word. It's an insult to him. See, Da Vinci is who worked a lot on the human ontology. He worked a lot on astrology.
किस पे काम नहीं किया तो बता ब्रो मेरे को.
This is the type
कौन
of
सा
person.
academics है जिसमें Da Vinci ने contribute ना किया.
This is the type of person I would like to become. Someone.
Me too.
Who has served in each field, who has explored all of his interest in a way that has helped the benefit of and benefit the society. Another example is Isaac Newton. Now, when we talk about this scientifically, maybe I'm way too far. Okay? He is the person who described the moon patterns, everything. He made calculus when he was 24.
In the West, huh? In the West.
In the West.
Yes.
Hot take, no comments.
In the West, not in India. India.
How does an eye work? It was a discovery by Isaac Newton by poking a needle in his eye to find out there's a retina.
Is it true?
It is true. He did all of that while being stuck in a pandemic.
चलो अभी मेरे को लगता है कि बहुत heavy हो गया ये podcast. On that note,
how old are you again?
22.
You have 2 years to do something so that the world would remember you the way Isaac Newton did. Just kidding. Time is relatable.
No. I still believe कि time is like जो the perception of time is very different in this modern times. चलो ये छोड़ो. नहीं अभी बस सार्थक मेरे को अभी एक पॉडकास्ट हो गया. अभी we'll talk for the next one. अभी बचा के रखो.
Oh, one last thing.
Okay,
we said time is relatable, right?
Chalo.
There's a poem I wrote for a really special person. And would you want me to read this poem and explain what it is?
Sure.
So there are very deep meanings in here and I would like you to take the reference. Just give me a minute, I'll get my book out.
Okay, sure. चलो कोई नहीं.
So Siddharth, this poem is called Your Name.
Your Name.
Hey,
Your Name is
not the anime. And the first line of the poem is, I'll start reading it now. Vistas in front of me where you stand.
Okay.
Roses fade away to what you smell. Uncannier than the universe is who you are. Time seems to bend when you smile. And only if words could truly describe. And only if words could truly describe how Pacific is ant for my love to you. And if words could truly describe what your beauty is. Time seems to bend when you smile. Endless beauty like the moon and the stars. Light barely shines when you are around. This is a wonderful poem. It doesn't rhyme. It is dumb.
It's a prose.
It's lovely. So the fourth line that says, time seems to bend when you smile. What does this mean? Think about it. What do you
think
seems to bend when you smile?
It's a metaphor.
So it looks very romantic. Time seems to bend when you smile. ठीक है? The hidden meaning in this line is
See. मेरे हिसाब से जो मैं समझा कि when you smile, you vibrate a certain level of good energy, and because of that, time shapes in a way that do great things for other people.
But the real meaning, the reference for this line is in 1904, Albert Einstein published a research paper, his fourth research paper that talks about theory of relativity and time is relative, right? There's one thing that he mentioned near black holes. The gravitational force is so high that even the time bends, and this is something that we saw in this Interstellar movie, right? This is the reference. Gravitational force is also known as the force of attraction. I am attracted towards this person. Okay? This person is someone I love. The force of attraction towards this person, the gravitational force of me and that person is so high, is as huge as a gravity, is as huge as a black hole, that for me, times bend away when this person smiles.
See, I told you it's a metaphor.
When this person smiles, her gravitational force is more than a black hole.
क्या बात?
And this way is filled with like hyperbolas. Pacific is ant.
चलो, great.
Light barely shines when you are around. Anyways,
चलो हम लोग अपने पास अपने और 2 टॉपिक्स अपने बचेंगे जिसके ऊपर we can do a great podcast. Number 1 is literature and number 2 is all the conspiracy theories. Okay, chalo. On that note, thank you very much, Sarthak, for joining me on this podcast. It was a great conversation, I believe, and I hope our audience has also मजा आ गया उनको ये सुन के. They got very different perspective and they use their mind and they use their mind to think, and that is what the purpose of this podcast is to the Mindmix Podcast. Our mind mixes and creates a different thing, and we perceive it in a different sense. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much for Sarthak. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope कि हम लोग फ्यूचर में और एपिसोड्स करें.
I see myself मैं फ्यूचर में बहुत सारे एपिसोड्स आपके साथ कर रहा हूँ.
Indeed.
Because this mixed my mind in a good way.
चलो, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth, for having me over.
Yes.
Thank you, Coward Media.
Yes.
Coward Media, Crowd Media.
Coward Digital.
कट कर देना ये, ठीक है. Thank you for Coward Digital for having me over. I'll be coming back again. And I am working on a new poetry book that will be coming out on 25th December. It's called The Art of Expression. Well, I'll be talking about how to express yourself better. And when this books come out, I would like to come back here to talk with you about this book, jump into a few poems, and mention a lot more about Rabindranath Thakur.
Sure, indeed, sure.
Thank you for having me.
Chalo, bro. And
subscribe.
Yes, all the links of Sarthak's book and his social media.
Google kar lena.
Sub you will find in the description, and thank you.
Google Pay.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye-bye.